you've been lied to. Straight up. The Great Australian Dream? Yeah, it's a FKN joke now. Unless your last name ends in developer or your uncle's on the council. While you're scraping avo off toast to save a deposit, the pollies and banks are making sure house prices never actually drop. And here's the worst part. They bloody want it that way. Meanwhile, just across the ditch, New Zealand said, bugger this. And their housing market face-planted so hard it left a crater. Prices crashed and stayed down. It's like watching a rugby team take a brutal knock and then just lie there. But here? Nah. Not in Australia. We treat house prices like sacred cows. Untouchable. Even if it means an entire generation never owns a home. Before we rip the lid off this Aussie housing scam, where banks cash in, pollies gaslight, and Gen Z gets locked out, smash that like button like you're bulldozing $1 million shoebox in Sydney. Subscribe if you're done getting fleeced by the system. And chuck on the "Is this the better Australia you promised" tea. Links in the description before they slap a property tax on your dreams. So here's the spicy bit no one wants to admit. Aussie politicians, both red and blue, need house prices to stay high. Not just want, they need it. Why? Because if prices drop even a little, their whole facade collapses. The banks, the investors, the tax system, all of it. It's like Jenga built on lies and mortgages. Let me break it down for you. In New Zealand, they actually had the balls to let prices fall. And surprise, surprise, housing affordability actually improved. Median house prices dropped from over 11 times the median income to 7.7. That's massive. Over here, we're sitting at 13 in places like Sydney. 13. That's straight up robbery, not a housing market. But wait, it gets juicier. Remember during COVID, when both our countries dropped interest rates like a drunk bloke drops his kebab at 3 a.m? New Zealand copped the same boom we did, maybe worse. But instead of propping it up with wishful thinking and dodgy grants, they let the bloody thing correct. That's right. They took the hit. We didn't. We kept interest rates low too long, then panicked and jacked them up like a dodgy tradies invoice. But even then, our prices didn't flinch. Know why? Because our government, and I don't care if it's ScoMo or Albo or some other bozo, they're all obsessed with sustainable growth, which actually means don't let my rich mates lose money. This obsession with rising house prices is cooked. It's a Ponzi scheme dressed up in a high-vis vest and a Bunnings snagger. You get in early, you win. Get in late, you're screwed for life. And now, young Aussies are starting to clock on that better future promise. It was just marketing. Like those fake discounts at Kmart. I mean, seriously, a report just came out saying median income households can now only afford 14% of homes sold. 14%. That's not a market, that's a FKN club with a VIP list. And unless your parents own 2 investment properties and a Tesla, you're not getting in. Meanwhile, in New Zealand, their central banks like, yeah, nah, affordability matters. They hiked rates to 5.5%, copped a recession and kept pushing forward. Prices stayed low, wages went up, and now people can actually afford to live. What a bloody concept, eh? But here, we treat falling house prices like a national emergency, like someone took a dump on the Opera House. Remember when Albanese was asked if he wanted house prices to drop? He basically said, nope, because God forbid the bloke who just bought a $1.2 million fibre box in Blacktown loses value. And here's where it gets nasty. Because this isn't just about houses. It's about control. High house prices mean high debt. And debt means compliance. You think someone with $1 million mortgage and a newborn's going to go protest outside Parliament? Nah, mate, they're too busy working 3 jobs and Googling how to survive on Wheat Bix and Tears. It's genius when you think about it. Keep people in debt, keep them docile. Meanwhile, the rich get richer, flipping properties like pancakes, claiming tax breaks like it's happy hour at Centrelink. And the worst part? Aussie media won't touch this. They'll talk about interest rates, migration, inflation. But they won't say what we're saying right now. that the system is rigged, that the housing market isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed. And you, me, and every poor bastard who missed the boom, we're the product, the sucker. Now some smug boomer will say, back in my day, we just saved harder. Mate, back in your day, a house cost 3 times your wage and you could get a deposit selling Avon on the weekends. Today, you'd need to sell a kidney, rob a bank, and win Powerball just to get a studio apartment in outer Melbourne. And here's another spicy meatball. The banks love this. Why wouldn't they? The higher the house price, the bigger the loan. The bigger the loan, the more interest you pay. And the more interest you pay, the richer they get. It's like a magic trick, except you're the one being sawed in half. But you won't hear that on Sunrise or bloody ABC News. Nah, they're too busy blaming millennials for buying Uber Eats. Like cutting back on coffee is going to magically drop house prices by half. Give me a break. Now I know what some people are thinking. If you don't like it, leave. Yeah? And go where, mate? Canada? They're even worse. UK? Good luck. America? Sure, if you like guns with your groceries. No, the answer isn't to run. It's to stand here, call out the BS and demand change. Because if New Zealand can do it, if they can let prices drop, push wages up, and stop treating housing like a casino, then why the bloody hell can't we? You want to know the truth? Here it is. We could fix housing in Australia tomorrow. We could tax vacant homes, limit negative gearing, build public housing, reform zoning laws, and stop treating every paddock like it's the next Dubai. But we won't. Because the people in charge don't want to. They're not trying to fix housing, they're trying to manage your expectations. Get you used to renting forever. Normalize debt. Make you grateful for crumbs. And worst of all, they're doing it with a smile and a campaign poster. So what now? Do we just cop it on the chin? Shrug and say, it is what it is? Hell no. This video is your wake-up call, mate. It's time to stop playing their game. It's time to start naming names, calling out the lies, and telling it like it bloody is. Because the longer we stay silent, the deeper we sink. The next election? Make housing the hill to die on. Ask every MP, every candidate, do you want prices to go up or down? And if they can't answer honestly, don't bloody vote for them. Simple as that. Because we're not just talking about houses here. We're talking about futures. About kids growing up thinking owning a home is some myth. Like Bigfoot or affordable fuel. We either fix this now, or we become the generation that watched it all burn while doing absolutely nothing. And that, my friend, is something no amount of avocado toast is worth. The real estate industrial complex. Sounds dramatic, yeah? That's because it is. Behind every overpriced shoebox in the suburbs is a tangled web of developers, politicians, councils, and banks, all scratching each other's backs while bleeding you dry. You think a $1.6 million dog box in Sydney with no backyard and mold in the bathroom is just the market doing its thing? Bullshit. That price is the result of deliberate policy decisions, shady land deals, and sweetheart zoning approvals. You're not buying a house. You're buying into a racket. Let's start with local councils. These jokers love to talk about smart growth and sustainable planning. But really, they're just gatekeepers on who gets rich next. You want to build some units? You better know someone on the inside or cough up for consultants who know the system and don't even think about affordable housing. Councils treat that like a dirty word. And don't get me started on the housing shortage myth. That's the favourite excuse of every investor flog on Sky News. Oh, we just need to build more homes. Mate, we've been building plenty. The real issue is we've got millions of empty homes sitting there doing nothing. Why? Cost investors are land banking. Foreign buyers are treating our cities like monopoly. And no one's enforcing vacancy taxes. Want to hear something even more cooked? Your superannuation fund. Yeah. The thing that's meant to secure your retirement is investing in residential property. Not to make housing more affordable, nah. To get higher returns for your retirement, so your future depends on housing staying expensive. Talk about a bloody paradox. Meanwhile, media companies, especially the ones with real estate arms, are the marketing wing of the housing cartel. Think domain, realestate.com.au. You reckon they want prices to drop? Hell no. Price drops mean lower ad revenue, less traffic, and unhappy agents. So they push the same fear-mongering BS, buy now or be priced out forever. It's not journalism, it's sales, wrapped in clickbait. And let's talk about negative gearing, the sacred cow of Aussie housing policy. You'd think this was some genius economic tool the way politicians protect it. But what is it really? A tax break for people who already own property. You lose money on rent, you claim it back on tax. Rinse and repeat. It's like being rewarded for failing, but only if you're rich enough to fail with property. And who's paying for all this? You. Me. Every poor bugger stuck renting a shoebox with no aircon. Our taxes prop up investor incentives. Our wages stay flat while property values rise. Our futures shrink while portfolios grow. It's not a market, it's a rigged casino where the house always wins. You want to know how cooked it is? In Australia, more money is made from owning land than from doing actual work. Landlords sit back, collect rent, watch values rise, and call themselves smart investors. Meanwhile, teachers, nurses, tradies, the people who keep this country running, can't even afford to live near their jobs. It's dystopian as hell. Now let's talk consequences, because this housing insanity isn't just screwing young people, it's wrecking the entire country. Homelessness is skyrocketing. Families are living in tents. Pensioners are being evicted. Kids are growing up in motel rooms. And yet we're still handing out first home buyer grants, like lollies at a bride party, pretending it'll fix anything. And what do the politicians say? We don't want prices to fall. Of course not. Half of Parliament owns investment properties. You reckon they're going to vote for policies that hurt their own portfolio? That's like expecting a butcher to go vegan. It ain't going to happen. So what now? What the bloody hell do we do? First, we stop falling for the BS. Stop buying into the hype. Every time someone says it's never a bad time to buy property, ask them how many houses they own. If it's more than one, ignore everything they say. They're not giving advice. They're protecting their asset class. Second, we start demanding actual policy change. Not token grants, not PR fluff. Real, bloody, reform. Vacancy taxes with teeth. Caps on negative gearing. Limits on foreign ownership. Fast-tracked public housing. Actual penalties for hoarding land. And maybe, just maybe, a government brave enough to admit that affordable housing is more important than someone's fourth investment flat in Brighton. And here's the spicy kicker. You're allowed to want house prices to fall. It doesn't make you un-Australian, it makes you sane. Housing is a need, not a luxury yacht. You shouldn't need generational wealth or crypto gains just to put a roof over your head. Wanting affordable homes is not class warfare. It's basic human decency. So next time you hear some bloke in a suit talk about housing confidence or protecting the market, ask yourself, whose confidence? Whose market? Because it sure as hell ain't yours. This whole system, from banks to councils to parliament, has been built to favour those who already have. And if we don't tear it down, brick by brick, nothing will change. The average Aussie will keep paying more, owning less, and wondering where the hell it all went wrong. But we're not powerless, mate. We've got voices. We've got numbers. And if enough of us get loud enough, long enough, we can force the change. We just have to stop playing nice. So here's what you do. Share this video. Send it to every mate who's renting, every cousin who's stuck at home, every parent wondering why their kids can't move out. Make some bloody noise. Because silence is exactly what they want. And if you're still watching, legend, you're part of the resistance. You're not asleep at the wheel like half the country. You're wide awake, and we need more like ya. Drop a comment. Tell your story. Tell us where you're locked out, what you've been through, what you've lost. This is bigger than one video. This is a movement. And for the love of Tim Tams and truth bombs, do not stop asking questions. Because the second we stop pushing is the second they win. So, yeah. Housing in Australia? It's a scam. A stitched up, polished, developer-friendly, tax-funded scam. But now you know? And knowing's half the battle. See you in the next one. And don't forget to slap that like button like it just raised your rent. Oi, and if you're real fired up, grab the "Is This the Better Australia You Promised" tee. Wear it to the next auction, the next protest, or just your local cafe when you're paying $9 for a flat white and dreaming of a home you'll never own. Stay loud, stay awake, and never stop fighting for the Australia we